Welcome to Off the Console, the hottest new podcast that's all about gaming, tech news, and anything nerdy. And today we're going to be talking about CES, and more CES, who's going to be at CES, and much more. My name is High Tech Lowlife, and I'm with my co-hosts, James from Games Revealed, as well as Gardiner Bryant from Gardiner Bryant. And this is the first new episode of the year. You know, it's 2025 now. And we've reached around 3,500 downloads through our various podcasting services. You know, we're on Spotify, Apple Music, heck, we're even on YouTube as well. And if you like us, be sure to like and subscribe us on YouTube as well as our other platforms, whatever you listen to us on. And aside from that, though, how are you guys doing today? Thanks for being here with me, by the way.
Yeah, thanks. Good to be here. I'm glad to be back. I was sick last week.
Yeah, I remember. It was unfortunate.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm doing decent. I knocking on wood. I haven't been sick much this year or this winter, and it's refreshing. I totally feel Gardiner on that.
I'm still kind of recovering myself. I got super, I was kind of feeling kind of under the weather when we last recorded, and then right after we recorded I got really sick, so good that we recorded when we did. So what have you guys been playing though?
James, what have you been playing?
I've been playing the Copium game. I've been playing it so hard since and we're going to talk about this topic, but the hint of some maybe Half-Life news coming this year. I mean, a lot of people are saying Half-Life 3. I'm still skeptical on that, but I am playing that Copium. I mean, honestly, that's what I spent this week doing. I was doing deep dives into some of the stuff and doing a video. Beyond that, Indiana Jones. That's it. Those are the games I've been playing.
Nice.
How about you, Gardiner?
Oh man, I have been playing Dome Keeper. Have you guys heard about this?
I think I have, but I haven't played it.
Haven't played it either.
Dome Keeper is if you took Mr. Driller and Dig Dug and then put it into a sci-fi roguelike, where it's also sort of you have to defend your dome from these monsters that these waves of monsters that come in, and you have to dig down underneath your dome, find resources, and then use those resources to upgrade your weapons, your jetpack, all the different things. Dude, it is one of the most addictive games I have ever played. I've been sick, so that's been helpful to just invest time into a game. But I could not have found this game at a better time because I've literally put dozens of hours into it in the last week. It is so much fun.
It sounds fun. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, same here. For me, I've been grinding the shit out of Balatro. I've been trying to 100% it.
Nice.
And
can you 100% that?
You can.
I thought that game you beat it by crashing it like Tetris.
Well, yeah, that's technically the way you quote unquote beat. I mean, you beat the game by reaching Ante 8 and beating that, and then you also really beat the game when you reach Ante 39 and you start getting not a number issues. But
not a number. That's awesome.
Yeah. So basically,
wait, is that a real thing, or is that the program actually hitting the not a number?
Yeah, it's so the score requirement hits not a number, NaN, if you will, and then what happens? Yeah. And then what happens afterwards is that you can reach NaN infinite if you have the right build, but it's also not a number, so it just doesn't work.
Is it? What is Balatro written in?
Lua.
Oh, it's written in Lua. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, there's not a number error and stuff like that, or parsing is different in different languages, so you don't need to dive into that boring stuff.
Yeah. So the way you're supposed to 100% it as per the achievements is you're supposed to beat the gold stake, the highest difficulty with every single deck, and then get a gold sticker with every single Joker in the game. So you need to take every single Joker in the game at some point and beat gold stake with it, which is really difficult because some Jokers are really bad. Like the basic Jokers that just gives you +4 multiplier
Yeah.
is really bad.
That's interesting. Yeah, the Joker system on that is really cool. I like it. But I still don't think it's as hard as the game I'm playing. I don't think anything is as hard as the game I'm playing, which is hoping for Half-Life 3.
Nothing ever will.
How do you beat Copium?
You dive down, make a video on it, and pretend to not be crazy. That's how it is. That's how you beat it. It's just as long as you're not in the crazy house or you end up going like insane, I think you're winning.
Well, I think the best way to beat Copium is to look forward to tomorrow. The technology of tomorrow, today. CES 2025 is around the corner. So,
Nice.
James, I think we've talked about this a couple of times, but have you decided if you're going to CES or not this year?
So I was eyeing over my retirement fund, thinking maybe I should cash some of this to go. And I'll be honest, I was close at times, not to cash the whole thing, of course, but cash a little bit, because Christmas just happened, paid for a bunch of stuff, got a bunch of new things. I didn't have the budget at this point to go, but I was so close. If I was really thinking it through, maybe like if I did this way earlier, I could have gone, like, because it would have been better prices for hotel and everything. Everything's like 500 plus a night around that area. Yeah, so it's
So for those who don't know, CES is a trade show where a lot of tech companies come together. They show off their latest gadgets and other technologies and whatnot. And sometimes companies come in with extremely prototyped prototypes, hopefully to get some investors. And it's not explicitly gaming. Like there's a lot of companies that do things that aren't gaming, like robots and shit. Robots are pretty cool.
Oh yeah. I think a good way to think of it is like the Game Awards and some of the other, like E3 is for what games are, is what this is. Like this is for hardware. This is for technology, but it can incorporate. You just wouldn't see like a game announced at this unless Valve really wants to be controversial, which I'm all for them being controversial. But usually there's a lot of stuff that's like, for example, Alienware, one of the first, in my opinion, the first like actual realized decent designed handheld gaming device that they never released was the Alienware UFO, was unveiled at CES like years ago. And so oftentimes that's another thing that's a little disappointing about E3 is that you'll see a lot of cool things that never come to light, because it's also it's for journalists to come and like test the waters, right? And not for journalists, but for the companies to come and test the waters with journalists, that is. So
Yeah, so who do we know is coming to CES? We know, of course, Lenovo is coming to CES, supposedly with Valve. But word also has it, this is kind of bleeding to the next topic, Valve themselves may be preparing something big there too. As per, sadly, it's Bradley's tweet. So let's just make this one mega CES topic.
let's do it.
Yeah, so from what I can see here, it looks like they're setting up different startup variants, like different startup movie variants, like the Steam Deck boot screen.
Yeah.
I don't really know what this is all about.
To me, I'm looking at the Sadly It's Bradley diff here, and it looks like they're renaming the startup movies, or the enums for the startup movies, and essentially it looks like the default is going to be for like OEM SteamOS installs, and then the Deck Blue and Deck Orange are going to be for the LCD and LED models.
I'm just curious why this matters so much. I really wish that they would, for developers like me, I'd love some like behind the scenes explanations on some of these diffs, because like there's an invalid state. What does that mean? Why not just play? These are startup movies. Like, why not just play it? It might not look perfect. So I'm assuming like screen ratios and stuff like that kind of come into play, right?
I'm going to guess that the invalid is going to be like the this is just my guess. I have no idea, but I think the invalid is the startup movie when you launch Big Picture, and then generic is going to be like the generic SteamOS boot up, and then they're branding their own hardware with the Deck Blue and Deck Orange
Yeah.
startup movies.
Yeah, that sounds like it makes sense.
I mean, it's an enum, which means these are just like types that they use throughout the code, just as to give a little bit of context for this. So that's what enums are. They're just a way to control naming and usually checks throughout the code, so that this will be potentially exactly what you guys were talking about, checking to see if it's big picture mode, or maybe they'll be doing something special for some of the Valve specific devices with startup movies and stuff.
So I will say the startup movie aspect ratios, they're all 16:10 as per usual, but of course we'll be seeing some 16. We'll probably be seeing some 16:9 devices running SteamOS at some point. So they had to figure out what to do with that as well.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty simple to support with the way that they do it. But yeah, I think it's still good for them to check it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the thing that they're doing with the different aspect ratios, and I could be wrong about this, but I believe they're just doing like an object fit for the video player, which just crops the top and the bottom. But yeah,
Yes.
I mean, right now it's a black video on a black background for these generic bootloader videos anyway. So
Yeah. Fun. So did you guys ever okay, I have to ask, because this was a fun part of the beginning of the Steam Deck era. Did you guys ever do any of the custom boot videos?
I've done some, yeah.
I've done some too, but I've been a little lazy these days.
They're awesome. I have them a part of one of the software pieces. Like I build software for the deck. I just haven't released in a while, and so I'm revamping it. But I have like 100+ of these that you can install technically just through like clicking a button. But before I had a script that did it, and so the before times of them actually supporting it. So it was always, this is fascinating stuff for me alone. It's just this variant stuff of like why they're changing all the stuff up, and maybe there's some extra special stuff that they're working on.
Yeah.
To make those variants different. But yeah.
Yeah. I'm curious what this other screenshot is for the SteamUI movie, SteamOS Suspend, and SteamOS Suspend from Throbber. I'm curious what those are. Did you see those?
So the SteamOS Suspend from Throbber must be a state that it gets into. So yeah, there's like animations or like movies that can there's a startup, there's a suspend. So like when you press the button and the deck goes to sleep, you can actually play a movie, or play like a video. I don't know why they call them movies. It's
weird.
a little weird, but yeah, it's like an animation or a video. And so the suspend with Throbber, I'm not 100% sure what that even would entail, but I would assume it'd be a state that the suspend would probably get into that was maybe weird for them.
Speaking of boot animations, have you seen the new one for the winter sale that just passed? The one featuring the Steam cat girl, delivery girl.
I have not.
You should check it. You should check it out. But anyways, speaking of which, the artist put out a note saying that was her that it was a fun time, and unfortunately, that was the last art she'll be doing for Valve.
That's too bad.
Unless they contact her again or something like that. But
they could, but it sounds like the contract, or at least like it's done for now. I think she did a great job.
I think so too.
Yeah, I'd love to see more of it. I really like, that's one of the things I like about the Steam sales as opposed to other places, is that it just seemed like a fun, cozy place to be when you're buying stuff. It felt fun. And I really appreciate that in today's world of like, try to make things as cheap as possible, and we're only looking for the cheapest price, but also making the seasonal fun sell. I don't know. I find it fun. Maybe my brain's broken on that, but it's fun.
Yeah. So back to CES. Who else do you think is going to be there too? Because I know Retro Game Core is definitely going to be there. We're going to have to ask him about what he saw at some point.
Can I add a quick note with the Throbber stuff?
Yes.
So Throbber is a loading icon. I never call it this, but it's a loading icon. So when you see it spinning, that's what a Throbber is.
Oh, like when it's like booting up a game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see.
So yeah.
And if you look above, there's also above the additions here. There's also OLED suspend animation and OLED suspend animation from Throbber. So I missed that when I asked the question. But so it looks like they just have like a generic SteamOS one that they're adding.
Yeah.
Which kind of reinforces my belief that the generic is going to be just a SteamOS boot up icon.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. So, I mean, everything leads towards SteamOS is coming for everything. Like, they're releasing SteamOS.
Yeah. Yep.
That'll be interesting. So, like, yeah, with the CES stuff, like, we know that there's good rumors that Lenovo is going to be releasing something there, with Valve potentially being there and all that. Do you think another handheld device could be revealed at CES and maybe turn flip it around to where Valve actually might I don't know if we can see if they actually have a booth, but if they had a booth where they partnered with a couple of different companies like Lenovo, and actually that's where it was showcased.
I can see maybe MSI being there, because that's where they showcased the MSI Claw at CES last year. And I know Nvidia is definitely going to be there because there's something around the corner, which we'll talk about later.
If they did come out with if there was another company with SteamOS hardware, it would be interesting to see if they debuted like support for anything other than AMD APUs, because right now, as far as I understand it, they only support AMD CPUs and GPUs on SteamOS, from my understanding.
I definitely would not plan on them supporting anything because they've been so cautious on releasing SteamOS, like the version 3. I feel like they're so cautious with that I'd be shocked if they released it for anything besides, like, if they let's say they partnered up with Lenovo or MSI, that they'd release it for Intel. I'm assuming AMD through this first portion, and then I could see them support, like, Intel probably wouldn't be a hard one for them to support, but it's just because the AMD architectures are so similar. There should be no reason why SteamOS shouldn't work on these other devices decently, like, enough, as long as the drivers are installed. But I am curious, like, also with these changes going on, these generic changes, could they also lend towards other rumors that Valve is working with maybe other companies are working on their own hardware for a Steam machine release? Like, could this also translate over to a Steam machine, not just a handheld?
Yeah,
I think
it's totally possible. Yeah, I would imagine, just because Valve has special branding for the LCD and the OLED, that they would also have some kind of special branding for Fremont, whatever that ends up being called. But yeah, I mean, making this system, the boot up movies and whatever, more robust and able to support so many variations, I think that it makes sense that they would release Fremont and have it be its own branded thing.
Do you think so? In the future with these diffs, you think that, like, in these enums, you think we'd see a Fremont style label, like, whatever, gold or whatever? I don't know. I don't know why they do the naming convention they do, but so you'd probably say that's maybe discredits maybe Fremont being announced at this, and it's just more maybe could be a Steam machine. Just it would be a third party, not like a Fremont, because I think Fremont's supposed to be first party, right? Like Valve's own hardware. Right?
From my understanding, Valve is working with the same manufacturing partner that they did with the Steam Deck for Fremont, and I would imagine when we see diffs like this for another type of hardware, we would that's when we would expect to see Fremont debuted sometime soon.
It's quantum computing, right?
Is it quantum?
I think it is. I think it was Quanta.
Oh, Quanta, yes.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, like,
okay.
Like, at least I know that for the LCD. I don't know if it's the same for the OLED, but I mean, it probably is, right?
I would imagine. Quanta. You said quantum computing, and I was like, "Uh oh, here we go with a Black Mesa event."
You just triggered me on like Half-Life always has to be innovative every time it releases. It's like quantum computing confirmed this year. It's coming out this year. Half-Life's going to be the first game to support quantum computing. That's where my mind went. I'm sorry.
I couldn't imagine, man. It's crit.
One thing that I want to mention is, have you guys noticed that it's blue for LCD and it's orange for LED, which are the color of portals?
Portal. Oh. Oh no! Oh my god!
Half-Life, or I'm sorry, Portal 3 confirmed. What's
Portal
up?
3 confirmed.
You heard it here first, folks.
Portal 3 needs to have 3 portals, 3 different types of portals.
Dude, Portal 3, oh man, that's my number one most winning game.
Is it?
Dude.
I love Portal.
It's Half-Life for me, but then Portal's really close. It's just
up until very recently, Portal was my most played game on Steam. Portal 2. I'm sorry, Portal 2.
Portal 2 is really good. They did a fantastic job with the story. Like it's a fun ride.
Dude, I hope one day we'll get Portal 3 or Half-Life 3 for the matter.
I think we will. Honestly, I think we're gonna. Well, I don't know if they'll be called 3. Like you could argue that Half-Life Alyx is Half-Life 3.
Yeah.
And they're just trolling us. Like, it will probably be Half-Life 4 that comes out this year. And they're just like, hey, sorry, guys, Half-Life Alyx is Half-Life 3. We just wanted to troll you guys. And I'd be down with that, because I could see Gabe doing that. He gets really frustrated with people asking him when Half-Life 3 is out. And I know that he's like, if someone else says it again, I know Half-Life 3. And that could have been his promise was Half-Life Alyx. Sorry. My conspiracy has been on this week, so.
How about Half-Life X? Would you prefer it being called Half-Life 3 or Half-Life X?
Well, that's Half-Life 10.
I get one. Yeah, right. If we're going off of Apple's naming convention.
Or it could be
I don't care.
Half-Life X1 and then Half-Life X2.
Look, I prefer to call it Half-Life Twitter, okay?
Oh my gosh. Half-Life shitter. Yeah, so I don't care. But I think the evidence points that like Left 4 Dead X was a code name for Left 4 Dead 3 before they canceled it. So it sounds like it might be a way that they code name things. Sort of.
Why did they cancel Left 4 Dead 3?
They probably just didn't feel like it was fun enough. They could also put it on the back burner. Maybe they morphed it into a different game. They do that. Like Valve is a very weird company when it comes to development, which I love. So that doesn't mean Half-Life or Left 4 Dead 3 could not happen. It's just they didn't think it was worth it at the time, so they canceled it. Is what I'm
That was the era of Valve, like just canceling everything too.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, after Dota 2, right? Like it was just there was nothing for a long time.
I think they did release one card game that did really poorly too, and I don't think that helped. So they released something that probably didn't help. It's almost, you can almost see Valve as like a person in its own self. Like they did really well the first 2 games. Then they had some expansions in both Half-Life and Half-Life 2 that just did okay. Even though they're very iconic, they just did okay. And that might have caused some self-doubt. And that's why Portal 1 happened because, we're going into deep dive territory here. Portal 1 happened because it was essentially a tech demo from a college student that was applying or something like that. Some along those lines. So they brought it on, finished it. And then Portal 2 came from that. So, and they do iterative stuff really fast like that. So if they do really well with the first one, they have a lot of ideas for the second one that they get out. And so once like Left 4 Dead and Portal was out, they kind of fumbled around. And I think they kind of had lost some self-confidence. That's what it sounds like. And so that's why I think we're starting to see some of that self-confidence come back.
Yeah. They also didn't need to release new games for a while, but you know. They still don't.
I don't think
but they want to.
I don't think that's how they play, though. That's the thing. Like if they were like, that's what makes them interesting, and they still do capitalistic things that are kind of annoying sometimes, right? We talked about that last week with the whole gambling thing, where they could maybe squash that more. But internally, we don't know exactly how much of that's being run by who and whatnot. So if they were like a lot of other game companies or companies, they would just stop making games and just would have stuck with one or two live service and Steam, and they would. But so there's a lot of passion, and you can see it with Gabe too. There's a lot of he didn't need to quit Microsoft and do Valve. Him and his co-founder, like, they didn't need to do that. So I think that's rooted in the whole company's like mantra, and hopefully that doesn't go away anytime soon. So we'll see.
Valve is one of those companies that you can never predict what they're gonna do. Like, no, I don't think, like, not even like 5 years ago, we wouldn't have ever predicted that Valve would make a PC handheld and not actually make that market viable, right? Yeah, like, no one would have ever seen that coming, and they killed it.
No, Steam Machine was another thing that caused them, I think, some hesitation too. Like, I think they lost a lot of confidence in the early 2010s, and so, but luckily they didn't give up, and kind of more like they kept on going. And
yeah, well, I mean, it's been a decade-long endeavor for them to like make Linux viable for gaming. Like, no offense, Gardiner, I know you've been following Linux gaming for like decades now, but like, I think you understand where I'm coming from, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, I started my channel like just after Valve announced the Steam machines, and because I was I loved the idea. I was like, and I had been a Linux gamer for years at that point before that, and so I was like totally gung ho, and then they didn't really do very well, but there was still a ton of games to talk about. So I don't know. I'm not going to take credit for Valve coming back to Linux gaming. They never really left. They've been the driving force. But like, dude, I mean, it was rough there between Steam Machines and Proton. It was really rough. It was it was an uncertain time for sure.
now you say you play games on Linux, but we saw what you played last year. It was not on Linux.
It wasn't. I know.
I know. Yeah. I'm messing with you.
Yeah. No. It literally, like, that was the most weird year. Like, because I was developing Doodlings, and God, I haven't had any time to play games. But thankfully, the Steam Deck counts as Linux gaming. So
it does. So I'm messing. I'm
about half. Just about.
Oh
half.
yeah.
So
I do want to ask one more thing with the CES stuff, and let's get into Nvidia with the CES stuff, because I'm really curious if you guys think anything, like, is there any predictions that you have of anything else that's going to occur there? Because this is a plethora of like stuff that could happen this year at this CES, and what's going to be like. I think handhelds are going to be taking a pretty big, like, because it's just so many companies are treating handhelds more as a viable option, right?
definitely a lot of AI. Lots of AI.
I love AI. I hate how AI is marketed.
Some kind of AI handheld just for you.
God.
So here's the thing: stop putting AI into the name of the chipsets. Like, we know that you have API, or you have cores on there for AI specific, dedicated AI cores. Stop putting AI into the titles. We don't need that.
But that's for the dumbasses that don't know, and that they want AI in their machine.
There's no way a dumbass is going to understand the naming convention of an AMD APU anyways. Like, you look at that thing, it's going to make them more confused, and probably like I'm not going to go further on that. It's bad. Like, I get it, but yeah, it's marketing jargon for probably for their investors and stuff like that, probably, because anything that's an AI name, but they could still have named it like the Radeon AI or something like that. They could have put it into the actual line name instead of at the very end of like some weird special chipset.
They need to come up with their own like branding for AI powered stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so like there's Radeon for their GPUs, and they should have something like, I don't know, like Shodan or something for their AI powered stuff. I don't know if you get that reference, but it's the AI from System Shock. It's like the rogue AI. Yeah,
that's right. Damn.
AI.
It's a deep cut. Sorry.
AI. Yeah. Speaking of AI, Nvidia. So some prices have been revealed for Nvidia, more specifically in China, but these aren't completely off the mark compared to what's in the U.S. So the RTX 5090 has been listed for 18,999 yuan, Chinese yuan, which is around $2,600, or the 5080's been listed for 9,999 yuan, which is about $1,350.
All right, here's the marketing pitch for the what is it, the 5090, right? There's an announcer comes on the screen. They're like, "Hey, idiot, you want to double or triple the price of your PC build? Buy a 5090.
You want some more AI
and quadruple your power budget too."
I'll be honest, it doesn't say RTX AI on it. I'm not buying it. I think they're gonna fail. I have a feeling that they're gonna fail at this.
Fucking Adam Jensen, you dumbass! Don't you know that AI is the way of the future?
Buy it right now.
That's
Adam
why
Jensen.
they're valued so high is because of like both AI and also their other like branding. Like gaming is the one that are least, I think, valuable revenues that they have.
Yeah.
Which is crazy that they would price hike it like this. So I think they would lower it and have, because the demand would be there, and they see the demands there, and I think they could match it with production. So like this whole like supply and demand doesn't make sense for me and Nvidia. It keeps on going higher when it's supposed to even out and go lower. As it's, I don't think it's that much more expensive for them to make. I think it really is just a greed take, which makes me even more off put by Nvidia, and I'm going to probably be doing more AMD builds. I just really don't like seeing this. Like, I don't see. There will be people that will probably, because they're doing, if it's $2,600, which I read somewhere else is 22, but even if it's $2,600, so people will buy this and will offset some of the people not buying it. But I don't know if it's actually going to be enough, as opposed to if they drop the price.
So I will say this: China does employ VAT, a 13% VAT. So after adjustments, the prices of the 5080 will be around $1,200. And the 5090 will be $2,200, which, as you said before, but it's still like a 30% hike for the 90 series, the 90 tier GPUs.
Expect that to be drastically higher, because there's going to be an American VAT on that, or not a VAT. I wish it was a VAT. VATs actually have a value added. It's a value added tax, as opposed to we're going to be having tariffs, most likely. And it definitely looks like there's more doubling down from a certain administration that's going to be taken over soon. So 2025 is going to be a very interesting year with hardware like this, and
prices for everything. To be honest.
Oh yeah, if you're really here's my biggest advice: if you're planning on buying any type of hardware and you want to save some decent amount of money, it just might be worth getting now as opposed to waiting. Because if those tariffs do go through, you're going to be paying a huge price. Like, this is probably going to be one of the biggest price hikes we've seen in potentially on this type of hardware in history. So, and if it goes through, I'm skeptical.
Fucking Nvidia.
Now, to play the devil's advocate
not
for just a moment, here's a question. I believe Hightech, maybe 2 episodes ago, complained that they have artificially limited the amount of VRAM on their 40 series cards, and even I think their 30 series cards. Yeah. Is that right?
For the the 60 tier GPUs, I believe. Yes.
Okay. Are these the 5090s here? Are they going to have more VRAM than the previous cards?
So I believe these are supposed to have 32 gigs of GDDR7 RAM.
Ooh,
wow.
So that 32 is like the highest I've heard of, like, isn't it? Like 24 is the highest I've heard of before, unless there's a card I'm mistaken that has higher. Like, so the 4090, and I think the 4090 has a 24 gig, doesn't it? And then the 3090, which we have, I think, Gardiner, is right.
I have a 3090.
Yeah, which has what, 20 or 18? I don't remember how much VRAM it has, but yeah, it has.
Where I have 12 gigabytes.
Oh, I have the bigger one then. They have 2 different models. That's another thing that's really stupid, is that they allow for different VRAM model.
Sorry.
You have a 3080, that's right.
Yeah.
So the 3080 also has 2 models too. I think the 3090 potentially has 2 VRAM models, but this, like, usually the 90 series has always had plenty of RAM. So that's never been the problem. Even with the 3090, like with the one I have, I shouldn't have too many issues with a lot of heavy textured games, like large textured games. But the 60 series, like their mid-range has always been like, they've really neutered it a lot, and it's really infuriating because it really just, ultimately what it does is it causes other, like, they're forcing upgrades every few years because you almost have to, with the way that textures are a big way to improve the way games look. And unfortunately, if the more uncompressed and the more lifelike they look, they're going to take up more VRAM. So to
add to that, Garden, I did say that, and they're doing it again with the 5060. The 5060 is going to have 8 gigs of VRAM, much like the 4060. And I believe the 3060 had like 12 gigs, if I'm not mistaken. Let me look it up, actually. 3060 VRAM.
They also had different variants too. Like a lot of these even mid-range cards had, like, you'd have to look for the VRAM. I'd always recommend anyone that buys a video card, I'd recommend to get as much VRAM as you can.
Yes,
that might not be as big a deal soon, but yeah.
Okay, yeah. So the 3060 had 12 gigs of VRAM. So I don't know why they cut down on the VRAM for the 60 series. Probably to like quote unquote save a buck, but really just to push you to buy the more expensive units or something bullshit like that. Word has it the 5060 Ti will have 16 gigs of VRAM. But again, why do they even bother with a Ti? It's fucking stupid.
Yeah, and that, like, and I'm just asking. I don't know the answer. The jump in VRAM doesn't come close to justifying the jump in price, right?
Yeah.
No.
Also worth mentioning the
RAM's not that expensive.
Right.
Also worth mentioning the 5070 is supposed to have 12 gigs of VRAM. Compared to the 5060 Ti's 16 gigs of VRAM. And the 5070 Ti is supposed to have 16 gigs as well.
It's just gouging at this point, right? I mean, this is ridiculous.
The worst part is that AMD basically does nothing to oppose this. They're happy to watch Nvidia hike the prices up because that means they can hike it up too, even though they may not even justify it. Not that Nvidia did or anything, but like AMD even less so.
Maybe that's why we need Intel to really. Maybe Intel is our saviors on this. Like their GPUs are getting better. I've heard great things of their new GPU, but
the price, yes.
But then again, they're pretty big too. I don't know. I feel like there's going to be some price fixing lawsuits coming out on some of the stuff. Personally,
can't happen soon enough.
Yeah. I mean, monitors went through that a few years ago where they had some major lawsuits against them because there was price fixing going on, which is companies talking amongst each other and artificially making the cost go up when it doesn't need to. That's price fixing. So yeah, I don't know. I don't. I mean, AMD and Nvidia on the outside have a lot of competitive, mean-spirited battles in the past. I don't know if you guys have seen. Like they've done some pretty nasty things, but behind closed doors, who knows?
I mean, they've been sued in the past for price fixing, both of them. They've been sued in the past for colluding.
Yeah, they have. So, like, what better PR stunt than to make it look like you hate each other, and then just price fix behind the scenes? I definitely wouldn't say AMD's like a saint with this, but I definitely trust AMD a lot more than I do Nvidia because the CEO has said very, very specifically mean-spirited things about both gamers and also the gamers are like the GPU market, and they don't, because they don't make enough money from it. I think they just don't care that they can price hike it however they want instead of being more competitive.
AMD or Nvidia?
Nvidia.
Yeah, fucking Nvidia.
But they do make good stuff. I like their cards. I really do. It's very off-putting to be taken advantage of, and I don't like it because that's what it feels like.
Yeah, and just the fact that like they they have like this history of just being like just shitty to people that don't make them a ton of money, you know? Like way back in the day, they like removed a bunch of features from the Linux drivers so that they were feature parity with Windows. Because there was like some driver, like I think they supported more monitors or something on Linux than they did on Windows. And they removed that because whatever, like they didn't want to maintain it.
It was probably a Microsoft rep or something like getting that. There's some closed doors stuff on that.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
At least they have like the open source stuff now for their drivers in the kernel, which is good, but they're still, I don't trust them.
They're behind. Yeah, exactly. Don't trust them. And at the end of the day, I think this is another reason why I know some people in the communities, and I can't remember what you guys stance are like on FSR, and they like these either frame generation or machine learning techniques. I like them, and I like them for multiple reasons, but they can be done very poorly. But it could be, especially if we have an open source, which I think AMD does more open source, which is another reason I kind of like AMD more, so they tend to champion open source. But that could be another way to combat some of this stuff is like using those types of technologies to not have to buy the top dog, but to buy the mid range.
When I first bought my first HD TV, I was like, you know what? I don't get it. I don't understand this. And then because I only had an Xbox, right? Like an original Xbox. And the stuff, most of the games that I played on there didn't support more than like 480p, right? And then I got a 360 and I connected it and I was like, oh, now I get HD because there was the raw signal from the console going right into the TV. But now it's like, in order to get like a raw signal at the native resolution, you have to introduce this muddy, gross, like AI upscaled image that I don't personally like how FSR looks. And so that when I'm like playing games, I want it to run at either the native resolution, or if it can't support running at the native resolution fast enough, 1080p, and then just upscale it that way. I don't want to have a game that's like AI upscaled. I think it looks like crap most of the time.
I think I completely disagree to a point on that. I think some games look really good with FSR 3, especially, and with especially some of these newer ones. But it really depends on the game. It depends on how it's implemented, and it depends on the certain outputs and like how greedy the algorithm is set to.
Yeah, maybe I've played them on like the most performance setting or something, but I just don't like how it looks most of the time. I can tell.
Because I agree with you. Like, it can look pretty bad at times.
Yeah.
But where I've played it, where it's more set to visuals, it can actually really help with the fidelity with no cost to performance, and maybe even a decrease in like an increase in your FPS. So I really like Cyberpunk is one of those ones where it's a blurred line. It can look really crappy, or it can make it look actually quite a bit better, which is really cool. Once again, though, and another reason for these frame generation things is also so the newer ones, what they do more than quality is they actually increase our frame rate, which can just make it more pleasant experience, right? Which those ones I haven't actually seen as much. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I haven't seen too much of a degradation in quality. But the like playing games at 60 frames is just as beautiful. And so if I don't lose any quality and it can up it to 60, that's all I care about. That's all, honestly, all I really care about is not having my game skip around and it looks well enough, like good enough. Like that's all I want for my Steam Deck. So
I haven't tried any of the frame generation stuff yet.
I don't like the frame generation stuff. It just looks too smeary. A lot of the time, it looks too smeary. Honestly,
really?
That's my opinion.
If it works like when you're in VR and it glitches and it like slides the image around, no.
That
makes me sick.
Yeah, that one is more of a what is it called? Sorry, it's that's a little different. Okay. What you probably want to do, high tech maybe, is limit your FPS. So you might want to adjust some of the settings and then limit the FPS output to be more stable at a lower, because if it goes too high, you could get it to blur more.
I guess
So you might want to, you might want to, like, if it's on the Steam Deck, you might want to limit your FPS. Don't get too greedy with that. That's my opinion on it, because all it really does, frame generation, is it just takes, you can kind of think of it as doubling your FPS. It just takes the previous image and kind of guesses a little bit how it's going to be, and then just fills them in between. That's all it really does. It's not perfect, but for certain games, I definitely prefer it. But we don't need to beat this horse anymore. I think it's a good technology. I'm hoping that, like, but then again, it's very flawed, but it's gotten better. Like in the early days, it was garbage. I'm very hopeful that it can maybe combat some of these high prices, though, because if you want to be like pure out, like as good as possible, like raw, like you Gardiner, you're gonna have to buy like the best card, oftentimes, depending on what type of game you're playing. But you guys play more indie games, though, that tend to not be as power hungry, so you don't even really need oftentimes this type of stuff that we're talking about. So
I have a 3080 in my PC that I think I might have played like an hour or two of games on.
But I do enjoy the occasional AAA game, and I do like running my AAA games at high resolutions, high frame rates, and maximum graphical detail. Sometimes I'm a PC gamer too. Sometimes don't get it twisted.
I did definitely used to be chasing the best fidelity that a game could do. Okay, if Half-Life 3 comes out, I definitely probably would be buying a new system to, Gardiner understands buying a headset for that is crazy for the Half-Life Alyx, but I might do that just because there's certain games that are so nostalgic that I'd have to. But I'm starting to get to the point where I'm like, I don't know if I care so much about it. We were getting to a place where things look good enough at medium settings, and that might be just where I set for a while, especially if they're going to be greedy.
If Half-Life 3 comes out and it doesn't launch with Fremont, I'm going to play it on my Steam Deck, and I'm going to be fine. I don't care.
I bet you that is going to look great on the Steam Deck. I bet you it's going to be like Doom.
Yep.
And Doom looks amazing on the Steam Deck.
Doom looks so good on the Steam Deck.
I've
been able to turn on ray tracing on the Steam Deck, and it works great. Yeah.
Have you guys tried it on a 4K TV?
Like
from the Steam
4K
Deck?
Resolution?
I have not.
I haven't either.
Have I tried it on? Well, it upscales. So TVs have upscaling too, kind of built in, which helps. But it looked. I can't remember if I ran it at 4K on the TV. I think I did. I have to go back because I have videos of it. But even if it's not 4K, but it upscales, it looked amazing. I was shocked. I was like, this looks like if it was on my PS4, like maybe even better. I was so amazed by that game. It's just like, I will simp for that game every day with how well they balance that performance.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's a shame that no other developers do.
So speaking of Valve and Fremont, do you think we'll see the Deckard or the Fremont at CES?
No.
No. Neither of them.
No. Maybe Deckard, but I doubt it. Honestly, I doubt it.
The Deckard can't come soon enough.
Does Valve even really do anything at these shows? I don't know if I've ever seen them at CES.
I don't think they've been at CES.
I don't think they've been either, but times
and
are changing.
It's not like they have their own booth, right? They're going to be there with Lenovo, and it's just going to be like one rep, as far as I understand it.
Do we know that they're not going to have their own booth?
I don't know that, but I haven't heard that they're going to have their own booth.
We would probably, you're right. Yeah. Like I think we would if they had their own booth and we knew it, that'd be a massive story.
Yeah. I would think they were gearing up for something huge if they had their own booth, but I just don't see it.
But I bet they could do it. They could have done it in secret, and no one.
They could have. Yeah,
I think it would have been leaked. I think. Well, they could always. Lenovo comes out, and then they just steal the show at Lenovo's booth. That'd be a fun one. Kind of do
Lenovo comes out, and then the walls fall backwards, and then Valve's logo rises from the floor, and it's like, this is actually the Valve booth.
To be fair, that'd be such good marketing.
Lenovo. Valve buys Lenovo.
Oh my god, yeah.
See,
That'd be
that's
so
that's the type
funny.
of stuff I want nowadays. We need stuff like that to make things more interesting. Companies
Well,
actually just having fun again.
Well, that's like what Valve did with their game development for a long stretch of time. Like they acquired mod developers and they acquired like, I mean, you mentioned Narbacular Drop, which was like Portal's original thing. It's
That's
like,
right, yeah.
like the tech demo. Valve went to that college and saw the tech demo and they were like, want a job, and gave all of their team that made Narbacular Drop. And it's like, dude, that's how Valve used to operate.
Actually, they still do operate
They
like
do.
that. They just
Yeah.
don't do it as much, or we
Right.
don't hear about it as much too.
Yeah,
they bought Campo Santo, right?
also-
And that was
They also hired the guys that made Risk of Rain, Hopu or whatever.
right. Yep.
Firewatch or whatever that one's called.
Campo Santo. Yeah,
Is it Firewatch?
And I believe they made Half-Life Alyx, did they not?
they did. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Campo Santo. Yep.
So they could buy Lenovo. That'd be cool.
That would be,
Get some
honestly.
Valve branded laptop ThinkPads.
Oh my god.
Ooh, that's right. They have. Oh gosh, I don't know.
They'd
about
have.
that.
I think they would also own IBM too, because don't they? Doesn't Lenovo own IBM now?
No.
They own the ThinkPad series, so IBM I think jettisoned some of their some of their branding.
Yeah.
And Lenovo bought it up.
What does IBM even do these days? Just like
Servers.
supercomputers with AI in them.
Yeah.
Yeah, servers.
They make they build Jeopardy contestants.
God,
businesses.
damn it!
Oh my gosh, that's funny. So, can we do it? Can we finally get into this? Can we do
Yes,
this?
yes. Half-Life. Hashtag Valve. Hashtag Half-Life. Hashtag G-Man. Hashtag 2025. Our good friend, the voice actor for the G-Man, Mike Shapiro, or Shapiro actually, posted a mysterious video. It's a 30-second video. It's talking about a new year, and I don't know what the background is, but he hasn't posted anything in like 5 years.
Yeah.
And the Half-Life,
It's a painting.
yeah, we don't know what's going on though. Basically,
Well, there's a painting, and then there's rumors of I think the orange in it is a color that is it's some go to conspiracy theories, man. They confirmed Half-Life 3 through the color palette on it. It's, you know, people they'll find fun stuff, but
So I posted a video about this, and I mentioned that I didn't know what that painting was. Do you know what the painting is?
I've read about it multiple times, and I still don't
Okay.
fully remember what it is.
So Mike Shapiro is actually a musician as well. And
Yeah.
so the painting in this video is the album art of his most recent album,
That's what it is, yeah.
which doesn't seem Valve related. But the fact that he starts off sounding kind of like Barney, and then he
does.
kind of goes into being the G-Man.
Yep.
And boy, I want to know your take on this, James, because this got me so excited. My spidey sense was tingling.
As always, you even had more like copium than me, like during the Game Awards.
Yeah.
For me, I think a Half-Life game's coming this year. Whether or not it's Half-Life 3 or if it's like a Half-Life game to support maybe the Deckard or maybe some other project that they're releasing, because they'll do that. Obviously, like with the Steam Deck, they did a Portal-esque game. They could be doing that too with this. Once again, I don't care. And if he's getting involved, G-Man's coming back means we're probably going to be getting, some type of full-fledged Half-Life game. Mm-hmm. Whether it's announced this year or comes out this year. I would be shocked if it didn't come out this year, though. With how Valve's been doing things lately. So my hope is, my extreme hope is that this is Half-Life 3 confirmed. I've said this multiple times over the years, though, so it seems so dead to me to say it, but Half-Life 3 confirmed, but they could also do Half-Life 4, do some other. All I know is we're going to be getting another iteration in the series. That's what I'm hoping for. I really do think this, and I think we have a lot of leaks because there's another leak. I don't know if you guys saw it.
No, we didn't. I didn't.
Gabe, is it
Gabe Follower.
Gabe Follower
Yeah.
mentioned that a Half-Life game is in playtest with friends and family.
It's in active playtesting is what they call
Yeah.
it. which
Active Play
is
system.
the last stage of development for a Valve game. But this, when Half-Life Alyx went into active playtesting, they ended up scrapping the entire story and rewriting it, using all the levels and assets that they had built.
Yep.
And it took them another year and a half from
Yep.
active playtest to final release. So I'm with you, James. I want this to be a thing, and I want it to be this year. If it is this year, it's going to be like late, I think. And I don't think we're going to hear anything official until summer at least. That's where my head's at on this.
Summer
Yeah, I
Game
definitely-
Festival.
Could be.
Doubt it. I don't.
Valve announces games now with a tweet. They'll release they'll just drop a trailer. They don't do like the events. Like Half-Life
Yeah.
Alyx. I mean, I think when what was it? What's the card game, the Dota card game, when that was released on stage and the reaction was so overwhelmingly negative, Valve kind of swore that off.
Yeah.
Okay, but to be fair though, that was
Nobody
announced.
wanted a card
No one
game.
wanted a card game.
No.
If it was Half-Life 3, I think that people would have erupted in tears of
yeah.
joy.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the problem, was that they came out with something that everyone wants: more Portal, more Half-Life. They'll even take more Left 4 Dead. And new IPs are fine too, but even for me, like Dota, every time I hear Valve mention Dota, I get disappointed. I am not a Dota fan. Dota 2, like the original Dota was fun with Warcraft 3, but I actually preferred League of Legends split off on all that, and Dota just isn't, like, Dota 2 is not really, I don't really care for it.
Dota does nothing for me either.
Yeah. So whenever time they mention stuff like that, I get super disappointed. I understand, but I'm just like, this is not my jam. I want something else.
You can't
so-
badmouth Gabe's Baby. That's his most played game.
Yeah.
That can be his
gonna-
most.
He's gonna curse you and your household and your Steam account.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad game. I don't care for it, and I'm glad that like people love it, because people do love it. It's like I got too much into League of Legends, and that's kind of like, if I play those types of games, it's League of Legends. But yeah, I don't know. Like, it's still disappointing, and I know that like Gabe likes the other IPs, but the problem lies with, I know that a lot of them are worried that like Dota does well and it has a good reputation for them, but it's not like Half-Life status reputation. Is not the same thing, right? Half-Life and Portal have just like and especially Half-Life Alyx somehow raised the bar even again, like, which is the title of the book, Raise the Bar. Like, it's like they raise the bar every time they release a new single player game, and that can be very daunting. And I couldn't imagine how many anti-anxiety like meds they have to be taking to make a game like Half-Life 3.
So I have two questions. Number one, do you really think that it will be, if Half-Life 3 releases, it'll be a VR game? Like, if it's like for Deckard, do you think that would be a thing?
Yeah. Sorry, go for a high tech.
I think it could be VR optional, like you can play the game in VR.
I don't know.
I honestly, we don't know. Like, Half-Life Alyx could be its own series that's just VR related. So Half-Life Alyx 2 could be coming out that has that's specific to VR. I could see them going that route and then sticking with Half-Life being maybe handheld first. Honestly, I could see it being flagshipped with their hardware. So it's going to be designed to work with maybe the Steam Deck or the Steam Controller 2 really well, and the Steam Deck. That's one thing I'd bet all my money on, is that Half-Life will work really well on some type of Valve hardware.
Yeah.
And that's probably what they're targeting. And there's some cool physics things that they could probably be doing too with the gyro. I wouldn't be surprised. They're also requiring that with their handheld, like with the controllers, third-party controllers and stuff like that. I could see them playing off that, because strong rumors are that they have some pretty advanced physics that they've been working on, and we've heard of swarming and stuff like that in Half-Life 3's before Half-Life Alyx. They never used any of that swarming, but there's swarming tech that you can look at. A great channel to follow is Tyler McVicker. He does a ton of deep diving into code and all that. And there was a swarming mechanic at one point, which sounds like it was very physics heavy. And I don't know why they didn't continue that. There must have been some type of limitation, and I have a feeling that they might have overcome that by now.
Yeah. The other question is, do you think we'll see Half-Life 3 before we see an official Deadlock release?
No.
I don't know if Half-Life, or I don't know if Deadlock will officially release in a official manner. I think it's going to probably be a slow rollout.
Okay.
But I don't know. I could be wrong. Like, it is definitely very like early days of Deadlock, even though it plays really well. Like they like a couple of months ago, they didn't even have assets, like true assets for some of their icons and stuff like that. I have a feeling it's two different teams, and then I don't know. Deadlock is probably going to be one of those. It could take years before they feel comfortable releasing it.
Okay.
And so that's my take on it. I don't know.
They can release it as like an internal beta. That is an option.
Internal beta of what?
Keep it early access forever.
Of Deadlock?
For Deadlock.
Yeah, sorry.
Is it not open? Is it not open yet? Is it not public?
It's still invite only, but I think at this point.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I believe so. Yes.
At this point, I think you could find someone. It's really sad if you couldn't find someone. It means you need to maybe find some more friends. But
yes,
yeah, I honestly I want to see what their algorithms. I want to see the data on that. I want to see how it's like the bacon thing, right? How many levels are you separated from Kevin Bacon? I want to know how many levels I am separated from Gabe Newell. Like I want to know if he was the main invite. He invited his employees, and then they invite. I want to know how far away I am from him. That's what I want to know. That would be a cool one.
That's data that I guarantee you they have. Like they can pull that data for sure.
So
yeah.
Here's a fun little hypothetical. If Valve asked any one of you guys, if Valve said that they were having a special event for new hardware next week, and they asked you, and they said that they would fund you flying out to their headquarters and like hotels and like whatnot, would you drop everything this next week to do it?
Absolutely.
If it was on Monday.
Here's the thing. Yeah, of course. Even if they didn't invite me, I would probably drop everything and find a way to get there and pay for it myself and figure something out.
Yeah.
You could
If this is CES. If this is CES. If it's Washington, I feel like because CES says I can at least get in there and at least talk to people that witnessed it if it's behind closed doors, but I can still be at the CES event. Washington, that's a whole other security issue thing.
So, I have a secret I kept from you guys. I got invited to CES on like a most expenses paid thing, and I was going to go, but then I got sick and I didn't know when I was going to recover, so I decided not to go.
Hey,
dude, I really wanted to go too. I was so excited, and then I went to Christmas and freaking got sick with COVID. And I was like, God damn.
Can you disclose who, like,
no,
who?
No, I can't.
Can you be like, oh, sorry, I'm better now. Can I go now?
I sent an email. We'll see if I can actually go, but I don't. I think it's too.
That'd be awesome.
If Gardiner's able to,
I had to pay for my hotel, and because I didn't buy the hotel because I got sick, like when I was going to buy it, the prices are a lot higher now, so I don't know if I'll be able to do it anyway.
They're a lot higher, but if you don't mind walking, you can go, or take an Uber. You can stay further away and just. I wouldn't do Airbnb. I do 20 minutes away from the event, probably, maybe 30, and Uber in.
Is CES on like Vegas Strip?
Cheaper.
I believe it is. Yeah.
There's a couple of events. Is it though?
It's across a whole bunch of different buildings. Like, so it's not just in one convention center.
There's a couple of really big convention centers that have connecting things. I'm trying to remember.
Okay. Ooh, you could stay in one of those casino resorts. You don't have to gamble. It's optional, but you can.
Yeah.
You can try to gamble to make up your CES funds.
Oh my gosh.
I have really good luck when I'm not trying and really, really bad luck when I am trying. So I've avoided gambling.
Oh yeah, that's you stay at those hotels have hidden deals too. Sometimes you can find that. I'm jealous. Like I said, I was this close, but I just was like, well, what if I go and there's nothing really that interesting at CES?
To be honest,
I don't know.
Valve not interesting enough for you?
It is, but like if it's just a Lenovo device having Steam OS on it,
Yeah.
I think that'd be fun, but I don't. It wouldn't be worth my $2,000. I'd probably end up having to spend on it that I can spend going to Japan.
If Gardiner is able to go, though, would you?
If Gardiner showed up there, I might actually go down and visit because my parents live just 2 hours away from Vegas, so I could just go stay there and just go down for a day or two. Like, I thought about doing that. I still might, but I don't know. It's so close now.
And then
It's so
let's
close.
see. So we know Retro Game Core is going to be there.
Yeah.
The Fox was going to be there, but apparently he couldn't find the time off because of his real life work as an IT professional. I don't actually know like what he does besides IT.
He does. Yeah, I think he has a pretty cushy IT job.
I would imagine so, especially since you're buying all these PC handhelds from like Aya Neo.
Does anyone get Aya Neo devices sent to them, or is that something that like they don't really send those out?
The Fan the Deck had a bunch of Aya Neo. Well, Linus Tech Tips always gets Aya Neo devices.
Yeah.
Well,
But,
yeah.
Fan the Deck did it so like a while ago. I think the last one they got was the Aya Neo Kun.
I got an email from them saying, "Yo, you want to review this?" And I was like, "Sure." And then I never heard back.
Dude, that happens to me every single time, especially with 1X Player.
Oh yeah. 1X Player did that to me too. Yeah.
They did that to me. They even like we mentioned this already, but they even mentioned me in like a big marketing email of theirs, and they're like,
Dude, tell them to remove you.
no, well, I didn't know. They mentioned like my video, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna be sending them a video or a device, and never got it. I'm like, damn it. Oh well, I didn't push the thing well enough. I'm really bad at pushing to get stuff.
You gotta get to it, man.
I know. I need to because I need to get built up to where when Valve comes out with their next device, I can be on their list, even though I'm kind of on their list. But if I'm not really showing that I'm going to do anything with it, then they're not going to send me anything.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll be big enough to get the Steam Deck too early.
I definitely think Gardner's going to. I think High Tech. I think as long as you get contact him sooner than later, I think you could.
Yeah.
I have some work to do.
Yeah. I will need to push Valve further, but yes, I have a feeling. So, speaking of which, exclusive. Do you see yourselves exclusively being Steam Deck creators, or do you see yourselves covering the Nintendo Switch 2 or whatever?
I couldn't care less about the Nintendo Switch 2 at all.
Or the Super Switch? I don't think it's gonna be called the Nintendo Switch 2.
I don't know.
Anyways,
So Gardner doesn't like Nintendo.
Yeah.
If
I
you
love
don't-
no. I love Nintendo. I love Nintendo's
Products.
games.
Yeah.
I love Nintendo's games. I hate the company
The
and
company.
how unethical they are.
Yep.
yep.
I guarantee y'all. I always say I'm like I don't think I'll cover the Super Switch or whatever it's going to be, but I probably will end up covering it a little bit. But it's not really my jam. Even though I have tons of Switch games, I like the Switch. I think that the Steam Deck and all these other devices are just drastically better.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't like the controller. In fact, I had to buy a bigger controller for this Switch. It was just cramping my hands too much.
So, speaking of exclusives, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, a former PS5 exclusive, they say sales don't disappoint, but they can't be exclusive to a single console anymore. As per Yoshinori Kitase, producer of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. They did an interview with IGN Brazil, and that's what the quote says. So, modern games cannot be exclusive anymore, they say. The question now is, oh yeah, and as we know, the PC port's coming out later this month on Steam. It's not an Epic exclusive this time, unlike the last one, if you guys remember that.
Mm-hmm.
So the big question now is, will they release Rebirth or Remake on Xbox? Because we don't have any word on that.
These are times exclusives, so they're gonna eventually release them on everything they can. There's no point in not, unless you're a first party or third party owned, like essentially, like Sony owns a lot of third party, at least exclusivities, like Bloodborne. I believe if there's another Bloodborne, I think it has. I believe it'd have to be on the PlayStation.
Yes.
Even though Elden Ring is on other devices, and so I like. This is kind of a silly statement. I think you can still have exclusives on hardware and stuff like that. It just depends on how good your exclusivity contract is, and if it doesn't make up for all the purchases that would have been made on the other device. And is it even worth for these? I don't think it's worth it for companies to do this anymore. I think they can still be done and it's fine. It's just not worth it.
It doesn't make sense for third-party developers to make exclusive titles. It just doesn't make any sense. The only reason that exclusives makes any sense is if it's a first-party exclusive to sell consoles. Like, that's the only reason that they exist.
Or sell a brand, like Epic is an example too, is to sell their brand or their launcher.
Well, I think Final
yeah.
Fantasy VII Rebirth was meant to be a system seller for Sony. That's why they wanted an exclusive so badly.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it sold nearly as many PS5s as they thought it would, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, are any of the consoles doing well this generation? Like,
They're
I feel
doing
like
the Switch.
fine.
The Switch, yeah, of course.
But
the Switch is
let me look
killing
at
it.
PS5 sales, actually.
Switch is 2 generations though. Like they came out like what, just like a year or two after PS4 came out.
Yeah.
Like a couple years. Like they're I'd consider them the last generation, not this generation.
Well, it's still selling consoles and software for it.
So is PS4 though, especially in other countries. Like,
yeah. The thing is, like, anecdotally, right? I know one person in my circle of friends who has an Xbox, like the current gen Xbox, and I know like maybe 4 or 5 people who have PlayStation 5s. But like, if you go back just to the previous generation, pretty much everyone I knew had a PS4.
Yeah.
Like everybody that I knew, even like my friend's grandmother had a PS4 and she played it all the time. And it's
that's awesome.
Dude, she's a great lady. But yeah, like, but now it's like, I know 5 people who have PlayStation 5s and I'm like, they just don't seem to be selling and they don't seem to be doing well.
It's partly the exclusivity kind of thing. I think partially it's that, and also they had a game plan for hardware, not games. Like the Sony, and I think this is also indicative of how long it takes to make games nowadays, especially like really, really big budgeted ones. It takes a long time. I don't think people respect that when they complain about how bad games are nowadays. I don't think they respect how much it takes to make a really, really good AAA title that they're wanting, like if it's open world and all that. I think maybe we need to cut back some of our expectations, and also game companies need to cut back some of how big they make games and start making more iterative, like multiple in a series instead of like these massive ones, because the higher chances of failing. But besides the point, I think, like, I have a PS5. I bought it. I enjoyed it for a little bit. I've used it probably less than my VR headset. And I'm starting to play it again with Astrobot, which was probably, honestly, the first true first-party game that I've actually liked on it. I think everything else has been, like, okay. And then eventually they've come out with PC versions of it, and I just waited for the PC version. So they don't... And Xbox is even worse. They don't have good first-party titles, and I think we're kind of over that. I don't think it's viable to even do it anymore. Exclusivities.
So I will say we have had some criticisms in the past because people thought that we had some weird Xbox hate. We don't hate. I don't hate Xbox. I just hate what Xbox has become.
I have genuine affection for all three of the major console manufacturers. I have such great memories of some of like the exclusive games for each console, and the reason that I am so down on Xbox is, one, it's owned by Microsoft. I don't really like Microsoft very much, but also the fact that like they have just been completely fumbling for 2 generations in spectacularly terrible ways, and it just, I don't know, like that's why I shit on Microsoft so much in Xbox, because I just see them as losing intentionally.
Microsoft's an interesting company. They're good at like so like with the new CEO that came into play like 10 years ago, they really put a lot of focus on programming and some other things, and they've done some good stuff in that realm, even though they're kind of like just like any corporation. They showed that, like Google too, they did well in the beginning, they showed goodwill, and now I feel like we're kind of at that point where now it's time for the backstabbing, and that's a little bit of my concern. Blizzard was already dead to me, so seeing Microsoft buy it up was like, well, they couldn't get, and I still don't think that Microsoft could ever get as bad as what Blizzard was. Blizzard was horrible. Let's just be honest. Blizzard was it was going to die, and I was really sad. It's like watching your favorite dog or something like that get ran over almost, but in slow motion. It sounds horrible, but you're just like, I love this thing so much, and you're killing it. And they were assholes too. Like the C-level execs were assholes about it. That's what's even worse. And so I think Microsoft is fine, but yeah, I don't know if we're at the end of the layoffs too. Like we have another, like with Tango Gameworks, right? They deleted that studio, and I don't know if you've heard about this one, High Tech, but Tango Gameworks, they live again, by the way.
Yes,
they're back.
I've heard.
Krafton bought at least they got the studio back up. Like I guess, I don't know if they bought, like they had to get the hi-fi. I'm sure they had to buy the IP, but that's the only IP they have, I believe, is hi-fi. And so
The Evil Within and Ghostwire Tokyo are still with Bethesda and by extension Microsoft.
Yep. Which I could see. I have a feeling that they're probably holding on to that. I could see if Hi-Fi Rush 2 does really well, which it's I could see it doing really well. As long as you don't neuter it with Game Pass, as long as you don't overplay the marketing, because it's a cult classic. Cult classics only can go so far with marketing. As long as they do it well, I could see Microsoft, well, we'll sell you Evil Within for a lot more. And maybe, I hope they don't ransom it. I hope they do well and just give it to them for a cheap price, or give it to them, because Evil Within is one of my favorite horror series. And Evil Within 2 is just such a, like, it plays so well. I really like it. It's a mindfuck kind of game too. So it's kind of fun for that, because there's not too many of those types of games that do well. But it's a niche game. Like that's the problem with Tango Gameworks, that they do amazing work, but they're niche types of games where people don't play. Like they're not. It's like Dead Space 2 also, right? Not a lot of people play these types of games, like enough to warrant like big budgeted AAA budgets, and so game companies don't usually want to go after that. They want to go after the biggest bag they can get, right? As opposed to doing a lot of good little bets that will pay off really well, as long as they don't have this weird mindset that they can put in $100,000 or $100 million into marketing and expect it to have returns like that. You know.
So I am curious how Tango Gameworks will proceed without some of their big known talents, like Shinji Mikami, former Capcom. He made Resident Evil. He also made The Evil Within.
That's true.
And also, I'm trying to remember her name. The very eccentric Japanese developer that was she was on stage and then people loved her on the internet.
Oh yeah. I'm not gonna be able to remember it.
Yeah, I don't remember, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I think they could do fine, but yeah, maybe maybe that triggers that Evil Within is dead.
Ikumi Nakamura. Yeah. She also did the art for the Evil Within and the Evil Within 2, and she basically directed Ghostwire Tokyo.
Well,
and she was also working for Capcom too. She did Okami, the artwork for Okami.
Oh, think she's going back. Like, where is she now? Did she going back to?
She has her own studio. Oh, she also did the art for Bayonetta as well. So she's done a lot of really like influential games. Like,
interesting. Yeah, I'm that kind of. I got my hopes up. You destroyed my hopes. I don't think there's gonna be another Evil Within. There could be. But
I don't think either of them were really that involved in Hi-Fi Rush, though. To be honest. Yeah,
and so it sounds like Tango Gameworks is going to pivot to Hi-Fi Rush style games, which is good for them. Which is good. I'm happy as long as they're a studio again and doing what they love, even if it kills a favorite franchise of mine.
So I just want to say, Krafton, I believe they're the guys that own PUBG.
Yes,
and I just want to say, I found this out the other day. So you know how PUBG stands for PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, because it's named after the guy PlayerUnknown. So apparently on Steam, get this, the game isn't called PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds anymore. It's called PUBG Battlegrounds. So it's PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds.
Yeah.
Why?
ATM machine.
Yeah, I don't call it an ATM machine. I just call it the ATM. I know. Like,
yeah,
it's weird.
Yeah, it just happens. That's just what happens with acronyms. Over time, they don't become they kind of just lose their acronym meaning, and you just think of PUBG.
I get
an acronym.
I get people calling it an ATM machine, but this was 100% completely avoidable.
To be fair, I always forgot about what PUBG even meant. I know, like, when you say it, like, I know what that is, but I don't. I think you'd be shocked if you did a poll on how many people, without looking it up, knew what PUBG exactly meant.
Oh man! All right, well,
just saying, marketing, man.
I never played it. Just saying.
Yeah,
I played a little bit of it. It was a lot of fun, like in the early days, because it was just pure battle royale. But it's free to play now. So you know how shit goes with that.
Yeah,
I played it because friends played it, but I really don't like arena style like that. I'm not a fan. It's yeah. Krafton does a couple. Wait, did Krafton do Callisto Protocol?
They did as well. It was. I remember it was supposed to be part of the PUBG universe. I remember it was supposed to be part of the PUBG universe, but then they kind of scrapped that. I don't know how that would have. That was what it was originally going to be. I remember reading that report, and I remember thinking that was the stupidest thing ever, and then it never happened.
Yeah, that's. I mean, they. I mean, if you play Callisto Protocol, it's not any. It doesn't feel like it has anything to do with PUBG.
No, they scrapped that whole aspect.
They scrapped it. I know, but like, doesn't feel like there's any remnants or anything of that. Callisto Protocol, I'm really sad because Callisto Protocol was very rough. It was very good, but I don't think they're gonna have another chance with that. I think if they made a second one, it'd be much better.
Yeah, I mean,
but at least they gave them a chance. Like, it was a couple of devs, the old devs of Dead Space that made it. I think if they at least they gave them a chance, and I love seeing that. So I will at least give Krafton at least they're giving these developers that did iconic things in the past chances again.
So I will say PUBG was the top played game, period. If you look at top records, number one at PUBG was PUBG at 3,236,027 concurrent players at the top, followed by Black Myth Wukong, followed by Palworld, followed by CS2.
Last year?
No, not last year. This is just all time.
Just all time?
Yeah. Its peak was in 2018.
Wukong's the second?
Yes. Followed by Palworld.
Palworld's like a online game though. Like that
It's not-
makes
it's
sense.
It's not online. Well, I mean, you can play it online.
Pal
But it's
World?
not. It's not like a live service game.
No, but it's like anything else that's like 7 days or any of these survival world builders. You almost always play it on a server or with someone else.
Yeah.
It's much better that way. That is, but so that makes sense. Wukong is kind of an interesting.
Yeah, because it's
That's a
almost entirely If I had to guess, it's because of China.
Yeah, it's got to be. That's still
I
crazy
mean,
though.
to be fair, PUBG was also super popular in Asia. In fact, so much so that they had.
True. Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably why too. And then we have CS2, Lost Ark, Dota 2, Elden Ring, almost hit 1 million, but they didn't. New World, and what the hell's Banana? What the hell is this? It's Banana, followed by Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh, that's cool. Banana's probably some Gen Alpha
Let's see what it is.
game.
Is it a clicker?
It's a fucking clicker game.
Yeah.
Oh wait, it's this game. You get like banana drops and shit.
Dude,
That's funny.
live action of you finding out is hilarious. 'Cause I still don't know what it is because you're not sharing your screen.
Oh my god. What the fuck?
Is it on Steam?
It is on Steam. They use the Steam marketplace to like. I remember hearing about some game where it like gave you like stuff, and people started trading bananas, and they kept playing this game to get rare bananas.
Oh my gosh.
Some fucking bullshit.
I mean, I hate it, but at the same time, I so want to copy this and do like a store-based gambling system with it, and then retire. I mean, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. By the way.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So speaking of like, we've talked about the PS4, PS5, and all that stuff. But there's another thing that like we haven't really been able to play on the deck yet, and it looks like you kind of can. But EmuDeck just added, is it Shad PS4?
That's right, Shad PS4. It's a PS4 emulator, and it runs Bloodborne. That's all that you need to know.
Yep.
It runs it okay. I watched the videos of Deck Wizard. Is it Deck Wizard? Wizard Deck? What's his face?
Deck
play
Wizard?
it, and I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't play it.
No.
I mean, I wouldn't either. I'd probably wait for the Steam Deck 2.
Still cool though, and it looked
It's
like
really
crap, but it looked it's a great step. And like the cool thing is, Steam Deck 2 comes out this year, you know, with Half-Life 3, with the Deckard support, all that. Like, it will play fine on it.
Yeah,
like
the
EmuDeck-
ultimate gaming machine. It's got Half-Life 3 and Bloodborne on PC.
That's a bonkers. That's a bonkers to say. Okay, I'm down.
Yeah, I'm looking at the EmuDeck interface, and it looks completely different now. What the hell?
It changes every couple months. Like, I need to do an updated video on installing it and stuff because it's different.
Same.
But the nice
Yeah.
thing about EmuDeck is that it handles all the configuration, and that is super, super nice.
Yep.
EmuDeck handles all of it. You don't have to worry about controls. You don't have to worry about setting up the optimizations. It does it all for you. It's great. And that's why it's really cool to see Shad PS4 being added, so you can almost play Bloodborne on your Steam Deck.
Almost.
Yeah. I mean, but also think about this, right? The fact that it's now in here means that like there's incentives for the Shad PS4 developers to optimize for the deck. I mean, there has been, but like this is even cooler, I think. And the deck being like a singular hardware target, I talk about this all the time. It means that like things can be developed in a specific targeted way for the Steam Deck. I don't know if it's ever going to get really good, but it might become acceptably good to play, right? And that's pretty neat, I think.
Dude.
Agreed. And there's always like improvements going on, and because PS4 and the Steam Deck have similar hardware, it could also help with the emulation side of things.
Yeah, and also running it at like 720p won't hurt.
Yeah, that's an actually interesting thing. This emulator, I don't know how they built it, but it should only improve. It should get to a point where a lot of games should work fine on the Steam Deck,
Yeah.
because the architecture is so similar. They don't really have to emulate much. They probably just have to deal with DRM and maybe a couple other issues.
Do we know how Shad PS4 is doing its emulation? Is it like a high level Proton thing, or is it like a low level?
I hope it's not.
I don't know actually. We'd have to look into it. I think it is open source though. Yes.
I hope it's not a Proton thing, because they don't really need to do that. I wouldn't think.
It could be like LLVM or something. I don't know.
I'm looking at the.
I mean, that's what LLVM is. What RPCS3 does.
Low level emulation.
It's like a low level virtual machine.
It has to do that almost. The PS3 is a very, very weird architected device. Very, very different compared to anything else. It costs Sony a lot to make the PS3.
I remember there was a different PS4 emulator that was like super work in progress. That essentially was like a compatibility layer. It was Linux exclusive at the time.
Was it called Backbone or something like that? Spine, something like that.
Something like that, yeah. I think it was Spine PS4 or something like that.
Yeah.
I never heard about what happened to that. I
think he just got less interested and stopped working on it. From my recollection.
That's kind of disappointing, because he said it was going to make it open source. But hey, we've got Shad PS4 now. Who needs Spine, right? I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's look at the compatibility list of games. So we have 169 games that are playable.
Nice.
213 games that are in game. 103 games that are in menus. 200 games that boot up. And about 964 games that do not work, like at all, in any capacity. So so I'm reading this. It says Shad PS4 can load some modules in LLE mode. Some are necessary, and some have HLE replacements. So yeah, I'm guessing it is low level emulation, and some like high level emulation. I'm not entirely privy as to how it works.
That'll be interesting. I'll have to dig into that a little bit. It's cool that they added it though. Curious how they have that whole system set up. I've built something semi-similar to EmuDeck at one point, and I still kind of support something like it, but I don't do emulation stuff.
So I will say, some of these modules modules need to be extracted from your own PS4, or I guess more accurately downloaded from the internet. I don't know where you're gonna find it, because even if I did know, I probably wouldn't tell you guys, because it's the content creator thing to do. We wouldn't be very good content creators if we provided piracy links now, would we?
Yeah, that, and also it opens you up to a lot of crap that you don't want to deal with.
Luckily, I just jailbroke my PS4 a couple weeks ago, so I totally could do a video about this.
Maybe you should.
There you go. Nice.
Maybe you should.
Yeah.
I think it'd be fun. It'd be a fun watch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So Shad PS4, it's interesting. You could play. What PS4 exclusives are there even? We have Bloodborne, and you could play
a lot of interesting.
Yeah.
A lot of the interesting ones have been done or been ported over to PC. I feel like for me,
you could play the PS4 version of God of War 3. It might even run better than on our. It might eventually run better on Shad PS4 than our PCS3.
Yeah.
Red Dead Redemption. You can play that.
But that's on PC now.
It's on PC now.
Oh, really? I thought just Red Dead Redemption 2 was on.
No, they
just
ported
came
that
out
like
a couple
months ago.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, it was more expensive than Red Dead 2.
Yeah.
Sale.
Oh my god, dude.
But
Yeah, no,
It is,
they
man.
have I think most of the exclusives that I want is already on PC, which I love. I hope Sony doesn't go away from that. I don't want to say anything to jinx it, but yeah,
I mean,
that's another
let's
thing.
See,
I don't...
Hold on, let's look at that. PS4 exclusives not on PC. Let's see, Bloodborne, of course, naturally. Deep Down. Oh wait, that never came out. The Order 1886. I don't think
That's That's a good game. Horrible replayability. Like, it's a decent game, but it did not get good acclaim. Like, it's fun. Like, it's
Yeah, it's also really short too.
Yeah. It's very short. That's why it didn't do so well, and it has no replayability.
Oh, Gravity Rush 2 is on PS4 as well. Let's see.
Yeah.
Killzone Shadowfall. Man, they should revisit Killzone, man.
Killzone, that was a really good game. I actually replayed at least the beginning portion like a few months ago, and it's a really good game. It really is.
See, The Last Guardian.
Okay.
That's also on PS4. What else is there? There's also Ratchet and Clank 2016.
Isn't that one? Didn't they release that one on this on PC, or is that's the newest
Rift
one?
Apart.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so Record of Grand Crest War, what is this? Oh, it's a light novel series, never mind. Let's see, Shadow of the Colossus, the remake, is PS4 exclusive. You could play the original right now on PS2 on PC.
Yeah.
via emulation.
That doesn't work very well for me on my Steam Deck, I found.
Really?
Shut up.
Yeah,
Colossus.
I tried playing it and it was like 20 FPS.
Well, the game like on PS2 is like 20 FPS. It's got like
really?
it's got like frame rate issues on the PS2.
Oh. All right.
So it's not just your Steam Deck.
Maybe I don't remember playing it very well.
I think it was just a direction that they went with it. Yeah, it felt like it was it lagged slightly. And I think that was just a style that they went with or something. It was a little frustrating.
Well, I don't think it was a style. I think it just had performance issues because of the giant colossi.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know, but yeah.
So, well, yeah, I don't know. It just felt like it ran a little slower, like just at any time. But that
yeah, it is what it is. Let's see, Uncharted, the Nathan Drake collection. Wait, what is this?
that's on Steam.
Oh, yeah.
You can get that on
One,
PC
two,
already.
1, 2, and 3.
Yep.
I thought that was just 4.
No, you can get the Nathan Drake collection on Steam. I have it.
On Steam.
Yep.
Is that the whole 1, 2, and
Wait,
3 though?
no, you got the Legacy of Thieves collection, which is different.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because that
okay.
has 4 and the one after 4. This
Yeah.
one is 1, 2, and 3, which is not on PC for some reason,
Oh.
which is stupid.
That-
Okay.
yeah,
All right.
that's right. I always mix those up too, but I knew that I thought it was called something else. Okay. Yeah, so there's a lot, like we could probably do this a little longer, but there's a lot that they've already ported over.
Yeah.
So this is one of the ones that I'm less excited for. I'm just glad that they did it though. I'm glad that someone's doing it. I'm glad that there's an emulator. I think this will be good, especially down in the future. This will definitely become more important.
Yeah.
But I still want to emulate my Mario 64.
Oh yeah, there's also the Fist of the North Star game on PS4. It's developed by the guys behind the Yakuza games. It plays like Yakuza, but it's like in the Fist of the North Star universe. You guys ever read that or watch it? So it's about a martial artist in like a post-apocalyptic nuclear wasteland, and he practices a special martial art called Hokuto Shinken, and he just makes guys explode by pressing their pressure points in martial arts fights, and he kills a lot of bandits.
It makes them explode.
He makes them like explode in like gory fashion.
Sounds fun. Sounds like a fun play.
Yeah, it was like written in like the 80s, I believe. It's pretty cool though. You can watch the anime on you can watch clips of it on YouTube. It's kind of fun. It's kind of hilarious.
Explode. Okay. They'd be like playing Diablo, where just the enemies explode.
Yeah, so speaking of exploding, Google Play is fuming with rage at Luck Be a Landlord, potentially banned on Google Play. So you guys ever play that, Luck Be a Landlord?
No.
So it's a game where you are essentially a landlord of sorts. But here's the thing though. It features a slot machine. It's kind of like Balatro in that it uses slot machines as like its aesthetic, but there's no actual gambling, so to speak.
Interesting.
And so according to the developers, It says here, your app's content that is accessible to children must be appropriate for children. Your app's content rating does not take into account references to gambling, including real or simulated gambling that appears in your app.
Interesting.
I feel like a slot machine is like a step beyond like gambling. Like I mean it is gambling whether or not you're putting money into it or not. Like I always thought it was weird that like Nintendo added slot machine mechanics to frickin' Super Mario Bros. You know?
Oh yeah. Yeah, so
you add your own symbols to the slot machines. It's a roguelike.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So it's not quite gambling, but it certainly has the aesthetics of a slot machine.
That's a hard one because I mean, poker, people, you can play poker without gambling. It's just a card game.
Yeah.
But it does have a lot of, like, the chips and everything like that do symbolize it. So that's the hard part. We're starting to blur. Like, if you pull a lever and, like, it's like a slot machine and then things start to move like a slot machine, at what point are you training someone to then want to use an actual slot machine?
In my opinion, this, like doing the pull, oh my god, doing something like this, the scroll down to refresh, is gambling, in my opinion. Like, I take a hard stance on that. Like, the swipe to refresh is designed as a dark pattern to, like, keep you addicted. And I think, like, I'm not saying that this guy did that intentionally or anything, but, like, I think that there's a huge difference between, like, virtual poker, where you're not putting any money at stake, and, like, a slot machine, like an actual slot machine in a game. I can see that being a bridge too far.
Yeah, it is unfortunate because this game doesn't feature any real gambling.
Yeah.
Unlike, say, I don't know, your average gacha game on Google Play.
Right.
But I mean, I guess it is. I mean, let me see what this game is rated on. Is it rated?
Yeah, it's gonna, like, can they change the rating on it and not have it be banned? Like,
I think they could.
Yeah, okay, and then
it's rated E10 for everyone, for alcohol reference and gambling themes.
Is that from ESRB, or is that like the stupid like automated thing from Google?
It's probably
I think it looks like it's a Google thing, but let me look at the ESRB rating while I'm at it.
So wait, they went the route and even said that there's gambling themes in it and it's rated E10 and they still want to ban it? That's crazy.
And alcohol references too.
Well, here's the deal. Have you ever published a game on Google Play?
I've published a few apps, and it's a similar process.
Okay, for games specifically, I believe they have like a rating system, but you have to get an ESRB rating. And so when I posted Doodlings, I had to like fill out this long questionnaire that was like, does your game have like drug references? Does your game have this? Is there violence? If there's violence, is it cartoonish? Is it real or simulated violence? And so I went through this whole thing, and then I just got slapped with a rating. Like, I didn't have to submit my game to any rating board. It just got a rating.
But it wasn't an ESRB rating?
It's an ESRB rating. I'm almost 100% sure about
I've gone through that for a game app, but I didn't realize it was ESRB. Like, I've gone through that. I know what you're talking about exactly. And they're pretty strict with that type of stuff too. I
don't see your game on the ESRB.
No, it might not be. I'm sorry, but
it's similar.
The whole rating process was just like a load of baloney because I didn't submit it to anybody. It just came up with.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure like you have to send your game to the actual ESRB to get like an official rating to make sure you can't.
You do from the ESRB. Yeah.
How are they using E10 Plus? I feel like that would be copyrighted.
I'd hate it if that's copyrighted.
It doesn't look like there's no ESRB logo on the rating itself.
No,
I'm sure that's whatever. I guess.
Okay, whatever. Yeah, it's.
Let's look at a gacha game. Let's look at a game. Oh, hey, we have a game here. Blue Archive is rated M 17+ for blood, sexual themes, and violence.
That rating system, I feel like it's pretty sensitive. When I went through it, like, I tried it for a game I was going to release, and it just didn't. And just a few ticks will make it go from everyone to mature. Just a little bit of checks, that is. Just a little bit of checks will really quickly make that go. As far as like gambling aesthetics, like what we're talking about, I mean, if it's clearly a slot machine, and really mimics that hard, then I could see. I'd probably rate it more in the teens, maybe even mature. Because
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it, and I would hope the developer isn't opposed to it either. I mean, there's not like an ID check when it's not like Google checks your ID when you buy like an M-rated game over there. It's not like GameStop.
But they can also like there's reasons why they have the rating system there, because they can get in trouble if they're exposing too many people to. I don't know. I think it's weird that they banned them though. They usually send warnings and stuff like that, especially if it's a bigger title. In the past, but
Yeah.
again,
So
I don't know what they do these days.
apparently they did change it, and they did put the game back up with the gambling themes, with the gambling themes now. But I guess it's whatever. They had to fill out the age requirement questionnaire, and they had to like essentially say that their game contains gambling.
They didn't do that before.
I guess not.
Yeah,
no.
That's gonna. Oh yeah, that's gonna knock you. You gotta. Luck be a landlord's at fault on this one. Their rating system's pretty explicit on this.
I just went to my game on Google Play from a VPN, through a VPN in Korea, and it changed my rating to a 7 rather than an E10 plus.
Yeah.
And so it looks like Google's rating system like will convert it into whatever your locale native rating system is.
You should see if Peggy rated at 18 plus.
Yeah.
I'm sure that they have like a scale depending on where they're at that rates it. But like they probably have like lawyers and stuff that help with that too and stuff.
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So
Bet you partially that's so that they can keep their own rating system and not get overruled by governments and stuff like that. They're trying to play nice so they don't get taken over.
yeah. So speaking of capitalism, you guys ever heard of a game called Recettear?
Nope.
No.
So it's an older game at this point, but essentially it was a game released in 2007 in Japan. You essentially take the role of a shopkeeper that also has to go into like a dungeon to get loot to sell in your shop. And it's getting a remaster in the year of 2025, which I think is pretty crazy. I've even attached some memes. I've even attached some memes too.
Nice.
But it's one of the most, arguably one of the more influential like games that it's like you've seen a bunch of games, the indie games these days, try to balance between like a cozy shop aesthetic and like a hardcore dungeon crawler, right? Like we've seen that with Moonlighter and whatnot.
I haven't played anything like it, but I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of basically like that, except a lot of people argue that this game is a lot better than Moonlighter. I haven't played Moonlighter though, to be honest, but it's an older game, and it says there's catchphrases like "capitalism ho."
Capitalism ho makes translations, man, are always so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the most capitalist game ever. Potentially the antithesis to Disco Elysium. I thought it was pretty funny because a lot of games are trying to be this game, but I don't know. There's something about this that just makes it timeless.
It looks interesting. So is it going to be on what's the HD remaster going to be on?
We don't know anything about it besides the fact that
What was it on before? I don't know really. Was it on PC before? So it most likely be on Steam. Okay.
Yeah, they did release it on Steam. Steam like back in it's like one of the first non AAA games.
Okay,
non
so
AAA
it is on
Japanese
Steam.
games on Steam, yeah.
See, I do not know anything about this game.
You should play it. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, there's a demo. Is this the remake though? No, this is
This is
demo for
the original.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? This actually looks kind of fun. I think I have actually seen this. It's just been so long.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know. It's been a long time since this game came
Well,
out.
If they when it comes with the remake, if it with the HD remaster, that is, as long as the Steam Deck, I might play it on the Steam Deck.
Dude, so it's been 18 years since this game came out in 2007. Wow. That's crazy. I could definitely see that justifying an HD remaster.
Yeah, that's interesting. There's a lot of we're going to be getting so many more HD remasters of stuff. I'm surprised we are not getting one of PlayStation 5 games yet. They're starting to do them so soon. So this is nice to see an older game actually get this.
Oh, yeah.
So hopefully you're okay with me adding a new topic at the end of this because it's a new year.
Oh, yeah.
I'm really curious with you guys, what your guys' plans are for 2025. It could be either I'm going to be trying to play beat a game every month is one of my gaming resolutions. Not everyone does a resolution, but I need to start beating more games. I've been playing a lot, but I haven't been finishing it, and it's not been very satisfying as a gamer.
Yeah, I mean, sounds about right. That's what I want to do too.
Even if it's just one game I beat, and it's something that's a 5-hour game, I just want to start beating some more games, especially on my backlog. It feels good. Let's just say that. It feels good to complete something.
Yeah.
So
for 2025, I want to get Chess Mess finished and out the door. That's my goal.
That's a good goal. Are you pretty close on that?
I like to think that I am. I have, I added some mechanics to the game recently that have really made it a lot more fun, which I'm really excited about. But really, I think the biggest thing is I'm done with mechanics and I just need to finish the art and polish. I probably have, if I were to just buckle down and just work on that exclusively, I'd probably have a couple months left, but realities being what they are, I don't think I can afford to do that.
Yeah.
So
less live service games, more games I can beat per se. Because inevitably, the one live service game I played a lot was Destiny 2, and I think at that point I got a sense of finality out of that. Because the main story arc that was with us for 10 years or so is done now. So I don't see much else left for me there, and hey, start beating games again too. Not that I haven't been beating games, but a lot more of them,
I haven't been. I've been getting halfway through games, and I'm not usually like that. With games I really like, I usually finish them. And I have not been like that this past year, which is crazy. So Baldur's Gate 3, I would like to finish that. It's a really fun game. Not usually the type of game I'd play. I didn't really care for the older Baldur's Gates, but the new one is pretty good. But yeah, there's just, I'd like to finish some stuff like that. On top of that, I don't think I'm gonna be able to finish the game I'm working on this year. It's gonna be this year's gonna be a big discovery for the game I'm working on, in the sense of finalizing the style and stuff, but not I'm not gonna be fleshing out more than just the first level or two until I feel like it's in a good place. So beyond that, content wise, games revealed, I'm going to be working on my website a lot more. I have a couple of cool things coming out for that. That'll be fun, but yeah,
nice.
It's gonna be a fun year. It's gonna be a fun year. I always like using the new year as a kind of a reset of what did I mess up on, and what can I kind of feel like I can do more of this year.
Yeah, I just came up with an art style for the cards, the mechanic in Chess Mess. So nice. I've been working on getting those, getting some of those done. But yeah, the big limiting factor with the is going to be doing the art. I'm not really a great artist, so I don't know. I've been really struggling to find an art style that works that I can actually execute.
So, when is the friends and family play test going to happen? And when are we going to get it one?
For Chess Mess?
Yeah.
Dude.
I'll
Is that
send
when
you a
it's...
key if you want to play it.
No, I'll play it. No,
Yeah.
the reason I asked, like, is it... When's it going to hit gold? But I do want to play it.
Yeah,
I'll try it out
absolutely.
too. It's like a chess roguelike, right?
Yeah. It's a chess. It's like a strategy puzzle game. So with roguelike elements. So the board, there's like a standard size chessboard at the beginning of each level, and you have to control both the red and the black pieces to earn enough points to spawn the king, and then you have to use whatever pieces you have left to capture the king. It's really fun, and I will send you guys keys right now.
Do it.
Do it.
I'll play it. How's
Hell
and your website and everything? Doing any cool new updates to your website?
Updates to my I'm constantly updating my website.
I know.
I actually just added a feature in Chess Mess that lets you like play a daily seed with a leaderboard for that seed, and my website is controlling that leaderboard.
Oh,
So
nice.
If someone plays it right now and then they go to the website, you can actually see a listing of the top. It's
Okay.
not 100% working yet because it's not ranking properly, but it shows you the daily seed and it ranks them properly.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
I do actually like that. Is a cool feature. I'm really curious to see it all. I have to see it play out. I'm having a hard time imagining this. So
Cool. Yeah, here.
awesome.
Yeah,
Thanks.
it's definitely something.
Anything else like for this year that you guys you plan on it, or should we wrap this episode up?
Planning on getting more videos out as per usual, making it bigger in the world of content creation. It's always a bit of a grind, but I'm always down. Speaking of which,
It's a grind, but I'm curious. Like, you bring that up. Like, are you going to be doing something different this year?
maybe more detailed videos, longer, more detailed videos is my plan.
Yeah.
I do want to review more stuff though, because my like non-Steam Deck related reviews don't do all that well. Like, I just reviewed a controller called the GameStar Tarantula Pro, and that's a pretty cool feature. So basically, you know how a lot of gamers have issues with like the button legends, like they don't know where X is for A or
Yeah.
B. So this has a feature where it mechanically changes depending on the mode you switch, which is kind of crazy.
Oh, interesting.
And I mean, aside from that though, it's a very competent controller. It also has a PS4 mode that lets you
Yeah.
play games as though you're using a DualShock 4, which is kind of crazy to me. But
That is actually very nice, depending on what type of game it is.
yeah, but it also has gyro and all that stuff. But I mean, yeah, I do want to review more non-Steam Deck related stuff, and hopefully, I'm not sure how to make that make those videos do a little better. I guess
If
it's just
it's
my
like-
audience.
Yeah, I mean, you could always ask them what kind of hardware they're like excited for this year, and try to reach out to those companies for reviews or for copies. Yeah, I mean, there's the controllers are a hard one because they're
The controllers.
for me. Yeah, there's a controller, right? And so for me, I just like this controller. The only one I'm excited for is the Steam controller too. Anything else is a little too extra because I'm more of a mouse and keyboard person, anyways. But anything that's exciting. I mean, I'm always down to see cool things. That's just my opinion on that. I find that like my videos do best if it's an interesting topic, and I don't know. I feel like I sometimes go into really big details in some of my videos, and they do worse. So it's finding that balance for me, and posting more like consistently. I know Gardiner, like you post twice a week, and you're pretty consistent with
typically. Yeah. I'm and in terms of like content stuff this year, I want to focus more on evergreen content, because right now, like my best performing videos are news videos, and after a week they get no views. So I want to have videos that like have a life beyond just the weekly news, you know.
I
How do
understand.
you-
Yeah.
What kind of a game? Because like reviews can be evergreen content, but they even die out a little faster than like tips and tricks. Tips and tricks will last a little longer.
Yeah.
What kind of evergreen content are you thinking about?
Stuff about like emulation and stuff like that. Probably.
Yeah.
Like
That's
long
where my
form
passion is.
essays.
I've done essays and they can work, but like, I don't know. The thing is, like, right now where I am in business and in my personal life, I don't have a lot of time to do stuff for the channel, and I can't justify the cost of like investing like so much time like some other creators can. So for me, it's like, you know, I want to focus on things that continue to get views, but also I don't have to spend 80 hours making, you know.
Yeah.
Because in the past, like when I worked a full-time job and then I just did YouTube, and back then it didn't seem that ridiculous to have YouTube as a hobby, and I would spend, you know, 15, 20, 30 hours on a video, and it seemed fine. But now that I like work for myself full time, I have to like put food on my own table, and it's
I understand.
crazy.
Yeah. I
It's
understand.
it's much harder, and I find myself reaching for news a lot more these days too, because I used to do a lot more green.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just stuff that would last a lot longer, but they're so hard. Like tips and tricks or recording the Steam Deck and doing guides and stuff was just so much harder, and it didn't like over time it works well, but things were changing so much I'd have to change. I got tired of it and stopped doing it because guides would go out of date, and then you just get tons of angry comments, and I hate that, and I don't want to delist the video because then it just really screws up everything else.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I need to do some more long-term content too. That's tips oriented. It'll be interesting. It'll be a fun year. It'll be a fun year. Like I'm with you on that. I'm trying to find my own balancing of time and doing everything else, because you're a busy person, Gardiner. I'm surprised you're able to get the videos you do get out.
Yeah. I reserve one day a week, or well, one day per video to get them done, and then I do the rest of my work around those days.
Interesting.
Yeah. If I can't do a video in one day, I generally won't do it, and I have a pretty good handle on how long something will take me.
Yeah, I'm similar these days. I want to do more videos that include B-roll. Like I have a 3D printer video that I've on and off wanted to do over the past year, because I've done one already. That was like a few years ago, but it takes a lot of work.
Yeah. I have a 3D printer video coming too, which I'm really excited about.
Ooh, you gonna 3D print some stuff for us?
Yeah. It's going to be cool.
That's exciting. I need to do some more collections of. Is it Steam Deck related or just 3D printed?
It's Steam Deck related. Yeah.
Well, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I better get mine out quickly then. No, just kidding. There's no way I'm getting mine out anytime soon. There's a video I wanted to do, and I have it planned. It's 100 things you can do on the Steam Deck video, but it's a very daunting video.
Yeah.
100
I have
things.
Yeah,
I'm not kidding. I have a 22-page script that I just have not recorded because it's just
What
it's
is it
so
about?
long. I'm not gonna say, but it's it's things you didn't know about the Steam Deck. Okay, I'll say it. And
Okay.
it's 22 pages long,
yeah.
and it's like lots of little tiny like things that you didn't know. And the longer I sit on it, the less relevant it becomes, but it's so I just know that it's going to be like an hour-long video, and editing that is going to be a pain in the ass.
So, you want to know how you do that? you record the hour-long video, and then for each point you break it off and don't release it. You just break it off into a short. I know you probably don't do shorts, but shorts are still like important for channel growth, and so that's also how I've thought about doing like the 100 things you can do on Steam Deck. But once again, like I said, like you were talking, it could be an hour-long video. It's gonna be annoying to edit, and is it gonna do well? Like I think it will, but that's a lot of time to dedicate to something.
Yeah. I have a feeling that it'll do really well.
Yeah.
But I just haven't done it.
I have something similar like that too, but it's
I don't really have any grand plans for any videos. I probably should, but I don't. I just kind of do whatever when I feel like it.
You've had some pretty grand plans in the past, though. Like you've done multiple series.
Yeah, I have. That's true. I have my monthly game overviews. Those tend to do pretty well, as well as what else have I done? Oh, Steam sales. I cover those too.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I used to do that, but it got so boring.
Yeah, lots of stuff like the Steam Deck Masterclass series, which I would do more of, but I'm trying to figure out what more I could do with it besides just remaking episodes for modern, like, because the Steam Deck does change, because the Steam Deck does change quite a bit because of well, you know.
Yeah.
It does change, and there's new things that are added to it. Okay. I mean, there's always RTX, because there's some games that will use RTX. Or ray tracing, sorry, not RTX, but ray tracing. Jeez. But yeah. Okay. I mean, it sounds like it's going to be an interesting year, though. Like, if Half-Life comes out, I'm guaranteed that there's going to probably be like 10 videos from me on that. Anything Valve comes out with, there'll be multiple videos on that. I probably should start preparing my video for CES for next week and just start preparing a script.
Yeah, you should. I want to do that too, actually.
So, and then also, I'm just really hoping that next week's episode of this will be really, really fun, because we had a really interesting drop at CES.
Yeah.
So, here's hoping.
I'm curious what the audience's plans are for this year, and why isn't it subscribed to this show?
Exactly. I like that. Why is it not that? Why aren't you subscribed? Why didn't you like?
Yeah. Get subscribed, follow us on the Fediverse, and hang out and let us know what you think of the show.
And YouTube as well.
And YouTube, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and what else are you doing game-wise this year? If you have a way to give us feedback.
Yeah.
New device you're buying?
Yes. Well, one more thing.
Wait for those tariffs.
One more thing before we leave. If Lenovo does in fact come out with a Legion Go S with SteamOS built into it, are you guys going to review it? I probably will.
Yes, if I can get my hands on it. If I can get my hands on, if it's going to be really annoying to buy, and because I've bought stuff, and then I did I've recorded B-roll and done videos to almost a point where I released it, but it was so far past that I didn't feel like it was relevant, and that's a me problem that I didn't release videos. I'm probably sitting on like multiple videos I've not released over the past year and a half. As long as it's within the first month or two, then yeah, I'm fine with that. After that, I don't know if I will.
I will do everything in my power to get a pre-release version of it.
A pre-release?
Yeah.
I highly doubt I'd be able to pull one, but even if I can get a day one, I'll try to get one.
Yeah, so next week's going to be an interesting week. It starts on Monday, right? Or let me see when it starts, actually.
7th. So
I think it's a Tuesday.
I don't think it's...
Tuesday. Working from home that day. Very nice, very nice. Like make some power plays.
That's good.
I might do a video each day just to kind of recap.
Really?
Surely there's not going to be that much like super relevant to us every day, right? Or you can talk about robots and stuff too.
I'll talk about robots. I'll talk about 3D printing. Yeah.
Yeah.
A video each day is insane though. Like, I see Deck Wizard make a video every day, and like, I respect the work ethic. I don't think I can do that, even if it's like not really all that edited, to be honest.
Dude, honestly, like the longest part of my entire production process is the writing. Like, I spend a solid 4 hours or 5 hours writing a video, and then I record for 25 to 40 minutes, and then I edit it in like an hour. Like, I'm a really fast video editor.
My editing's the longest part of mine.
Really?
So I always
Absolutely.
But I've changed the way my videos are. I'll put like fun memes and stuff in it just because I have fun kind of adding certain things. But it's just a different iteration on like I'm kind of changed how I've released videos because I used to do a lot like more research up front and then recorded it. I used to release videos almost every day. In fact, there was in order to get my channel to where it was, like I think for 4 months, I released a video every day. Did fairly well, burnt out, and so trying to get back into like releasing just a couple times a week because it's fun. But I have a lot of fun, but the problem comes down to deciding what to focus on, deciding what to do, and writing sometimes can be very daunting, and so yeah, I usually get stuck up in the editing process. I can record multiple videos, but editing is still different. Because I want to make I'll sit there and polish it for too long, and it just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
There's
For me, besides like if I'm capturing B-roll, that's going to be the longest part of my videos. But like,
Yeah,
I can throw together like a video really, really quickly now.
yeah. If I'm not adding B-roll or anything that's over, like it's just me talking, I can get it edited in like 20 minutes, like as long as the video is, which is not usually 20. But if I'm adding anything really, sometimes I have stuff prepared, sometimes I don't. I'm in that like the editing portion is kind of like the fun little area where I'm having fun playing around with. And so that's probably another reason why it's taking me so long, because I like to play with it, but also wanting to like make it better than it probably needs to be for someone, because it's like news stuff, like you talked about, like it's news stuff. Like as long as there's good stuff on screen for them to like understand it, it's not as big a deal. But long form content, that's where it starts to get much harder.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, cool. Do we want to wrap this thing up?
Yeah.
I want to go see how my video's doing. I don't think I'm sure it's doing okay because Half-Life 3's the topics I covered are like 5 days old. It took me way too long to record and edit. But speaking of editing, but I want to go see what it's like. So should we end?
Yeah, I think we should. All right. Good show, guys.
Yes. Thank you for a great show. I'm very happy with this. I'm glad to be back again.
Yeah. Welcome back, Gardiner.
Yeah, welcome
Glad you're
back.
back.
Yeah, glad you're feeling a lot better.
Yeah.
Bring the insight for us, man.
Hopefully you'll be able to go to CES if the company...
I hope so.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
That would be awesome. Then you could
It'd
be
be
our
really
insight
cool
man.
to meet James in person.
Yeah, if you do go, I will try
Yeah.
everything I can to go down there. So that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. We're going to have it. Oh, it's going to be a good next week, guys.
Yeah.
For sure.
Thanks for watching and listening.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Have a good day, y'all.
Yep. Peace out.